lovelies, it's Murky Meg here. It's Sunday the 16th of May and a very intriguing article has hit the headlines yesterday. Now, in it explains that the royal aides want Harry and Meghan to give up their titles. Now, bear in mind, this isn't the royal family, it's the aides that work within the institution. They have urged Harry and Meghan to give up their titles. Now, this is a huge deal. It's the first time really that they have ever gone on record and said, this isn't right. Allegedly, the Palisades have called on Harry and Meghan to give up their titles following Harry's latest disgraceful assault on the royal family. The article suggests that in withering condemnation of the couple's continued attacks on the royals, senior courtiers told the Mail on Sunday of a growing sense of bewilderment and betrayal. They are particularly incensed over Harry's shocking criticism of Prince Charles, and if you haven't seen it already, I spoke about this in my previous video. I've popped a link in the top right hand corner. You can go directly to it if you haven't seen it. But Harry just didn't offend Prince Charles, he also implicated the Queen and the late Prince Philip. One aide said that people are appalled that he could do this to the Queen when the Duke of Edinburgh is barely in his grave. To drag his grandfather into this is so shocking and so disrespectful. It goes on to say that the Duke of Sussex has now spent a significant amount of time emphasising that he's no different to anybody else and attacking the institution which he says has caused him so much pain. There's a growing feeling that if you dislike the institution that much, you shouldn't have the titles. The aide continues that they should put the titles into the abyss so they still exist but are not used like they agreed to do with their HRHs. They should just become Harry and Meghan, and if they refuse to do that, they have to explain why not. And this is the exact question I wish everybody asked them. It's very important, but such a simple question. Give up your titles or explain why you won't. Now, I've tried to do relatively comprehensive research on the issue of who is responsible should anybody wish to remove their titles. I think it boils down to this. Harry's prince titles can only be removed by a letter of patent, but don't think that's ever going to happen. The dukedoms are the responsibility of the Parliament. But then I've also heard on Twitter that quite a lot of people have written to Parliament and asked for the dukedom to be removed. And the Parliament have said, whoa, it's nothing to do with us. That's to do with the Queen. Now, I will make one thing clear. If at some point they do get stripped of their Duke and Duchessdoms, that will put Meghan to be a princess. Don't shoot the messenger. It's true. If their dukedoms, so that's the Duchess and Duke, are removed because they were granted on marriage, it would make her Princess Henry of Wales. That's a little too close to the Princess of Wales that Catherine will be once Charles takes the throne and William becomes the Prince of Wales. Now, I've taken a look at this in great depth and I want to ask the question, will they volunteer their titles? Well, we all know the answer, they won't. There's no way in hell are they going to hand over their titles because they are the biggest and only selling point that they have. It is their greatest money spinner. It opens the doors. People want the titles to be linked with them. It's a link to royalty. And if these titles are removed by the Queen, then they look even bigger victims, don't they? They can cry wolf till the cows come home. They will be the ones that said, look at those meanies, they've taken away our titles. And it makes the monarchy look evil. When we all know, in fact, they aren't. It's just the fact that when Mexit happened, when the Sandringham Summit went ahead last January, I believe Harry actually stated that he would uphold the values of the Queen. Is this upholding the values? He said that he wouldn't do anything to embarrass the Queen. Well, I think it's safe to say that has well and truly been blown out the water. What he's done over the last couple of months is obliterated the monarchy. Surely he can't really be that dumb to understand the consequences of his actions and what he's done. Does he think that this isn't embarrassing the monarchy? in his own mind, how is this not embarrassing the Queen? He's actually implicated that not only is his father, Prince Charles, an inadequate parent, but also his parents, i.e. the Queen and the late Prince Philip, were also inadequate parents. I do feel for the Queen. She's gone through so much over the last year, especially the last 6 weeks with the late Prince Philip. I mean, if nothing happens and they are allowed to continue on this steamrolling mission to obliterate and sabotage the monarchy, because I do believe that's what they're trying to do. Narcissists, when they don't get what they want, when they're angry, they literally lash out at anything and they will burn your house down. They sabotage everything you hold dear, and I truly believe this is exactly what is happening. But I feel sorry for the Queen because she is stuck between a rock and a hard place. Not only is she our head of state and our Queen, but she's also Harry's grandmother. I get it. I get it's tricky, but at the moment the British public are so disgusted with Harry and Meghan that something needs to be done. It was worrying that an article came out yesterday saying that Prince Charles still holds hope that he could bring Meghan and Harry back into the fold of the royal family. Now that is very worrying because that shows that he's not looking at it with a king's head on. He's looking at it as a father. Yes, absolutely. If you want to bring Harry and Meghan back into the family, do so, but never, ever, ever bring them back as working royals. Because if you do, I truly believe the anti-monarchists will rise, and I fear for the royal family if that actually happens, if they're allowed to come back into the fold. Don't get me wrong, I believe that when the divorce happens, not if, Harry will come back, tail between his legs, very sorry for himself, and it will take time. But I don't think he can ever step back into working royal life ever again. It will make them look weak if they bring them back. It also is making them look weak that they're doing nothing about the titles. It also is making them look weak that Harry and Meghan are also still on the royal official website. I think that they should be completely removed from that website. It's an offence that they are on there. Maybe a viable option is that they do the same to their Duke and Duchess Dums that they have done with their HRHs. They are still have them, but they are not allowed to use them. This needs to happen. I don't think they will be stripped because I can't see it happening unless something monumental happens. I don't think that they will ever be stripped. They should, don't get me wrong, but I don't think they will. Word on the street is that they are also doing a behind the scenes documentary into their exit from royal life. I mean, it just gets worse, doesn't it? These are the people that say that the firm and royal life was so detrimental to their own mental health that they felt, Harry said that he felt like a prisoner. He was on the Truman Show and then he was like an animal at the zoo. Why on earth are you clinging to that life still with both hands? If it was such detrimental effect on your mental health, just walk away. Don't speak about it ever again. Simply just go, right, I've got a new life now. Let's push forward. But what you're effectively doing is just dragging it out. But again, that's what people want to hear, isn't it? Like I said in my previous video, it's the thing that pays the money. It's the thing that people want to hear. They want to hear the gossip. They want to hear what really happened behind the scenes. And Harry and Meghan know that very, very well. And they are cashing in. Another reasons why I don't think that they will relinquish their titles is they want to be American royalty. And they're really, really trying, aren't they? But if their titles are removed, will it just add more fuel to the fire? Removing their titles would just add to the victim narrative, wouldn't it? And they would really dine out on that greatly. But as it stands, Harry and Meghan are earning humongous amounts of money on the back of being a Duke and a Duchess. Otherwise, why are they using those titles so much? You've still got to come back to the question. If they won't give them up, they need to explain why. I know what Harry will say. Oh, it's my birthright. It's my heritage. I'm allowed. Is it right though? When the Queen took away Diana's HRH, ultimately it led to more sympathy for Diana. So maybe the Queen is trying to be more sympathetic and not make mistakes that have happened in the past. But what she's got to remember is this is a completely different situation. Yes, Diana manipulated the media. Yes, Diana didn't really say very nice things about Charles, but she never really badmouthed the Queen. And ultimately, that is exactly what Harry is doing. He is belittling and trying to really sabotage the institution within itself, not just the courtiers and the aides, but he is now squarely aiming at Charles, the Queen, and the late Prince Philip. But to do nothing shows weakness. Personally, I think that they should be put into suspended use. I think that the Queen, much like their HRH titles, should say, look, you have them, but you just can't use them. It's the only way if she's not going to strip them of their titles. She can, but she won't. So I would love to know your thoughts on this issue. Do you think it's right that the royal aides have started to speak up? And let's be honest, these royal aides don't just speak up willy-nilly. They would have had the nod from somebody higher up to run this story. Are the royal family dipping their toe in the water and testing the response of request to hand in their titles or strip them of their titles? It's very interesting that they don't say the aides want them to be stripped. They say that the aides want them to relinquish their titles, to hand them back. It's putting the onus back onto Harry and Meghan and not the royal family. Cleverly done, isn't it? I'm going to have to ask it, but I know what all of you will say. Why do they keep using their titles? Because let's face it, they use them prominently in everything they do. The book is a fine example of that. If you haven't seen my video about the bench, I've popped it up in the link in the right hand corner. On that, she uses her title prominently and in the middle of the book. Very, very clear to see that she loves those titles. What would happen if they did get stripped? Would she be happy with being the Princess Henry of Wales? Do you think that's a little bit too close to when Catherine becomes the Princess of Wales? And finally, what do you think should happen? I would love to know your thoughts. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit the notification bell and also that like button. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of my followers for all the tips and all the emails, DMs that everybody sends to me. It really is greatly appreciated. So thank you very much for watching once again.